Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
We are following three major stories tonight. First, the UAW corruption scandal has reached the top. Ex-union president Gary Jones has been charged.
And new cases of the coronavirus in the U.S. And tonight, more changes intended to slow the spread as health officials warn this is not a drill.
But first, Art Van, a Metro Detroit institution, is done.
3 years ago, we were this vibrant retailer, and now we're going to be gone.
All stores set to close as going out of business sales start tomorrow. Topping our news today at 5 this morning, employees were told the company just did not see a path forward and the furniture chain would close.
And if you need a look at how big Art Van is here in Metro Detroit, this will do it. Take a look. This is a map of all the Art Van stores in a 100-mile radius of Detroit. 27 stores, and that doesn't include Art Van Pure Sleep stores.
Let's go by the numbers. 5,500 people work for the company and learn today they will most likely lose their jobs. Add to that, more than 200 stores slated to close, leading to a big hit for a lot of Metro Detroit communities.
Our Paula Tutman is looking at the impact the closures will have on Metro Detroit and specifically the headquarters in Warren.
Let's start there with Hank Winchester with more on what customers need to know right now, Hank.
Devin, Kimberly, good evening to both of you. Disappointing news for all the employees across the board, but a lot of customers concerned not only about their recent purchases, but also warranties. Will those be honored moving forward? Here's what we know. Art Van closing more than 140 stores, not only all over Michigan, but the Midwest. Today, a steady stream of customers, some looking for a big deal.
I'm looking for whatever just catches my eye.
But many wondering what happens now. I just bought furniture here.
Back in January.
You bought something in January?
Yeah.
It hadn't been delivered yet?
No, they kept saying it was on back order.
Angela Davis came in looking for a refund, and she got it.
Yeah, I came in today and got my refund back.
Any problems with that?
No, it was easy.
We've seen many customers requesting and getting refunds today, but do it now before this gets tied up in court. What about warranties? That is still up in the air. You may have better luck contacting the furniture manufacturer directly. If you try calling Art Van's customer service line today, you'll likely hear this. The lines are simply overwhelmed today, as you would expect. And what about deposits on furniture? Here's what a bankruptcy expert tells me.
Some of the unintended victims and consequences are people who leave deposits for deliveries, and now they are a creditor to an entity like Art Van who's filing with an unsecured claim in the bankruptcy, which means not only are they not getting the furniture, but they're probably not getting their deposit money back.
Back out here live, a lot of unanswered questions for consumers, but we are told that Art Van will be working to answer many of those questions. You'll find those answers on the company website. You know, when you talk about Art Van, you saw the impact at the top of the newscast. So many stores, so many locations all over the state of Michigan and obviously right here in Metro Detroit. So what is the local impact? Let's get you over to my colleague Paula Tutman with that part of the story. Paula?
Well, Hank, you said it, and I want you to think back at that map that Devin and Kimberly just showed of all those stores, understanding that a store closing in any of those communities has a huge pack, but unlike Warren, here it is an absolute gut punch. In the city of Warren, you can't sling a red hat without hitting an Art Van delivery truck. The company is omnipresent with a mammoth flagship campus and gigantic footprint. And with the shutdown of the stores and a layoff date for employees as early as May 5th, people who live in the community are worried.
I don't know what they're going to do with it. I really don't know.
What are your big concerns?
More hotels and motels. I don't want any of that here.
As the mayor of Warren, who was notified at about 8:30 this morning that his city would be losing the 262 employees at that flagship store, and the city would be losing $2.2 million in tax revenues, there was sheer, unadulterated anger.
This was done by an investment company and have gone in, and in the past couple of years, they have basically liquidated and sold all the assets.
The Art Van presence accounts for nearly 3% of the city of Warren's total operating budget. And while there are other behemoth headquarters in the city, this is still money that is taken directly out of schools, fire, and police.
They made a commitment to the state of Michigan and Warren. I believe we helped them with some tax incentives, and they should be held to be accountable.
Hard to ignore the brand spanking new store in Canton 2 years ago. Apparently, while the assets of the 60-year-old family-owned company were being sold out from beneath the foundation of the company.
I think there should be a nationwide law that says to investment companies, you cannot take over a successful company like Art Van for 60 years, and in less than 3 years you liquidate, you sell all the assets, and you throw all the employees out in the street. That's wrong.
Okay, and so Mayor Faust also indicated that he believes the investment company has sold many of the buildings, but it's not clear whether or not they've sold that particular campus on 14 Mile Road. That is a huge footprint, and he is certainly concerned and anxious to make sure it doesn't sit, but it does indeed get filled with some sort of company. Guys?
Yes, indeed. Okay, Paula, thank you. And our coverage continues ahead on Local 4 News at 6. We'll help answer the question, how did it come to this?
Also, what you need to know about the going out of business sales now that start tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, developing right now. The feds have made it to the top after months of investigating. Former UAW President Gary Jones has been charged in the corruption scandal that's rocked the union. Federal prosecutors say Jones played a key role to funnel more than $1 million from the union,
including everything from lavish trips to tens of thousands of dollars in alcohol and expensive cigars. Rod Maloney spoke with the U.S. attorney today as he laid out the charges.
It's not like this is unexpected. We've been waiting for something like this to happen, but the charges still are impressive in that Gary Jones is charged with embezzlement of union funds. He's charged with tax evasion and racketeering. And the U.S. Attorney's Office is saying the sad irony here is that he ran as a reformer.
It was about a year ago Gary Jones sold his indignation hard.
I am deeply saddened and irritated that some members of this union and some leaders in the auto companies exploited their positions to benefit themselves.
Then a few months later, the FBI and IRS raided Jones's Canton home, finding loose cash in the garage. The feds call this a multifaceted embezzlement scheme. Hundreds of thousands of dollars stolen, more than $60,000 in cash delivered to Jones directly from, the feds say, this man. Bald in the light suit here, UAW Region 5 underling Edward Nick Robinson. He pled guilty Monday to doing the heavy lifting in the case. U.S. Attorney Matthew Schneider is saying,
instead of that cash and property going to help the men and women of the union, Mr. Jones spent it on his own personal enjoyment and on the whims of other high-ranking union officials.
The feds say $129,000 for luxury condos and villas, $80,000 for greens fees and merchandise, $65,000 for lavish restaurants, spa services, clothes, musicals, amusement park tickets, horse rides on the beach, and more than $15,000 in expensive cigars. As for the UAW's future,
some of the proposed changes I've seen, I'm not impressed with, and I don't think that's going to do the trick.
signaling that there could very well be a federal takeover of the UAW. The UAW, of course, not happy with that idea. They've been trying to reform, and in fact, today, the union went out of its way to say that in no way, shape, or form is the current president, Rory Gamble, under any investigation. In the meantime, the union also decried its former president's action, calling it a breach of trust in a very large way. Back to you.
But Rod, let's clear one point of this up, which is that the feds are calling this an information rather than an indictment.
Right. Right, Devin. And what that means is that there are negotiations underway with Gary Jones right now, more than likely to be a guilty plea. That's how it's played out so far. He's the 14th in a long line in this investigation, and we've seen that happen over and over again. But it hasn't been settled yet, so we're going to have to wait and see when and if Gary Jones does plead guilty and when he makes it to court in downtown Detroit.
Yeah, we sure will. All right, Rod. All right, let's get to the other big story of the day. As if all of that isn't enough, the number of coronavirus deaths in the U.S. now total 12, the latest in Washington state.
And today, lawmakers voted to pass billions of dollars in emergency funding. Our Dr. Frank McGeorge is here with the latest on efforts to slow the spread of infections.
Yeah, Kim and Devin. So that emergency spending bill includes money for vaccines, testing and treatments, and protects against any price gouging once drugs do become available. Now, the Seattle area has asked workers to work from home. They've urged communities to cancel group events, and they have recommended people over age 60 or with underlying health problems to stay home. An escalating response to the coronavirus in the U.S. as the number of cases grows in more than a dozen states across the country.
On this vote, the yeas are 96, the nays are 1.
The Senate passing an $8 billion emergency funding bill to combat the spread. Vice President Pence at a Minnesota facility that makes masks and other protective gear.
This is an all-hands-on-deck effort.
Before heading to Washington state under a state of emergency. So is California, where another cruise ship linked to 3 confirmed cases was ordered to remain off the coast. And in New York State, cases doubling to 22 overnight. New York City's mayor imploring the federal government to send more test kits. The Trump administration says they're working on it.
But do not be surprised if you hear concerns, a doctor saying, I have a patient, I don't know how to get this done.
Their expectation is that the commercial production of tests in a very short period of time should reach 1 million.
The World Health Organization warning countries not to underestimate the threat.
Even the high-income countries should expect surprises. The solution is aggressive preparedness. This is not a drill. This is not the time to give up. This is not a time for excuses. This is a time for pulling out all the stops.
Now, you may have heard that Starbucks is temporarily restricting the use of reusable personal mugs in stores, and they're only using disposable cups instead. That's honestly a good example of the type of things that companies can do to help limit the spread of germs, and something individuals need to be thinking about as well.
That's counter to, people are trying to get green right now and use more reusable items, but in this case, disposable might be helpful.
Exactly. Limits the spread of infection.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Doc. Well, if anything, there's been a pattern on Wall Street this week. After a near record gain yesterday, stocks took a massive downswing today. At the end of the day today, the Dow was down more than 970 points. Every single sector of the markets were in the red today. Today's sell-off represents 3.5% of the index.